On to Australia now, where the worst flooding ever to hit the northeast of that country has killed at least 3 people. Reports said the waters have swamped more than 1,200 homes and are threatening thousands more. Dozens of families are waiting on the rooftops for rescue helicopters. The flooding follows heavy rains and strong winds generated by the tropical cyclone Oswald. Authorities have said the disaster is far from over and more rains are expected in many cities. Cyclones and floods are common in Australia's northeast during the warmer summer months. Well, to discuss that a bit further, we're now joined by Daniel Pizarro, Press TV's correspondent, who is joining us now via Skype from the Australian city of Sydney. Now, Daniel, tell us about the death toll and damage in Queensland itself and how this floods will affect major cities like Sydney itself.
Well, hi, Wakar. It's good to talk to you again. These floods have claimed at least 3 people. We've had 2 bodies that have been fished out of the Brisbane River, and a 3rd body has been found in the town of Gympie. And looking at the pictures I've seen very recently, cities like the city of Bundaberg, which is north of Brisbane, have been completely cut in two. We've had over 2,000 people isolated because of the floods. Thousands of properties have been inundated. This is a massive disaster, and it's still not over yet. And we've been seeing a lot of the footage coming out of southeast Queensland. In the state capital, Brisbane, which had the terrible floods in 2011, we're expected to have some minor flooding there. It has burst its banks of Brisbane River in the CBD, but it's still not as bad as 2011. Now, these storms that have been generated by ex-tropical cyclone Oswald have been moving south, and we've seen that this just caused chaos. On the Gold Coast, we've had buildings, roofs have been knocked out, the Gold Coast airport has been shut down, and we've had hundreds of millilitres of rain dumped on areas down south, heading into New South Wales, such as the city of Coffs Harbour, which had almost 300 millilitres of water. There are massive storm surges up and down the coast, and this is heading straight to Sydney. Now, today it's been pouring in the city all day, and it's expected that ex-tropical cyclone Oswald would come over the city area around 6 a.m. tomorrow. We're expected to have winds of up to 160 kilometres an hour. Hundreds of millilitres of rain is expected to be dumped on the city, and the worst affected areas are expected to be the northeastern suburbs. And we're already seeing this cause chaos. Several of the major transport lines north of Sydney have been severely affected. At Sydney Airport, flights to the Gold Coast have been cancelled, and the large city of Newcastle, 3 hours of Sydney, is already experiencing a lot of these storm surges. And we are going to have this basically peak at around 6 a.m. tomorrow, which is bad because school starts for most of New South Wales public schools. We have thousands of people wanting to get into work. We've been told by state emergency services that if you don't have to go outside, then don't. And of course, that's not going to stop a lot of people coming around. And we're expected that this storm, after it passes over Sydney, it will then move out into the ocean. And of course, the ironic thing with this storm is the fact that we've been suffering through bushfires, including large bushfires in the state of Victoria, and now we're being inundated by large rain and cyclones. So we're seeing like a complete polarization of the weather.
All right, Daniel, thanks a lot for that. That was Daniel Pizarro, Press TV's correspondent, speaking to us live via Skype from Sydney. Meanwhile, Brazil is in deep shock as the families of the victims of a tragic fire are continuing